We're just going to take a look at how to do self and peer evaluation assignments, and that first appears in class 3. So if we just go in there by clicking on the link, and you'll notice the icon shows a group, a little tick mark. That's the icon symbol for self and peer assessments. So you see the assignment. It gives you all the production criteria in steps, and I've shown you an example here. Notice that it is in black, white, and grayscale. And really the main thrust of the assignment is to create a composition using the elements and principles of design. So the elements being line, value, we can see the grayscales here and here, and shape. So creating something out of a number of different primitive shapes put together, and also in compound form, as you can see right here, we have a compound shape. So simple and compound shapes all coming together to create some kind of composition. Now the elements themselves are arranged in such a way that they showcase a particular principle of design, and there are many, and if you look at your chapter in your textbook, you can look up the principles of design and see what they are. But in this case, I've used balance, repetition, and movement. And you can see that there's a radial balance here around 360 degrees. Things are kind of reflecting in these various axes. This dashed area here has radial symmetry. The two asterisks reflect through the horizontal axis. And of course there's bilateral symmetry through the vertical axis for the bear's body. Movement is sort of implied by these things. They kind of look like cloths or flags blowing in the wind, and that they have a certain directionality that points the eye in a very counterclockwise direction. Using a line with an arrow on the end would certainly accomplish the same kind of thing. Anyway, the idea is to purposely combine the elements in your composition in a way that reflects one or several, a variety of principles of design. And when you're done, you'll save a native version of your file, but you'll also be exporting using the Save for Web PNG 24 transparency off, and you'll save that file and prepare that for upload. Now you'll notice here it gives submission dates, and that's important that you get your work in on those submission dates, because without doing so the work cannot be evaluated by either you or your peers. So make sure that you get it in. To view or to complete the assessment, you just click on this link here. Again, it's like going into a project. We see the assessment name right here, and again a reiteration of the assignment criteria, and it just says here, note, make sure you perform self and peer evaluations on a weekly basis or you will not receive a grade for these submissions. The idea is to promote you in an activity of engaging with the work of your peers and providing them thoughtful and considered feedback. Alright, so you'll notice right off the top there are a series of questions. And these questions are meant to guide you in how to evaluate the work. And you'll notice the status right now is not completed. So for question 1, are the layout and the typography correct? Well, I gave you very specific guidelines for how to lay things out and how to set the type in what size and what font. And so this is a good time to ask yourself, have you followed that criteria properly? Anyway, let's go into question 1. So this is the area for your response. Now, we're doing visuals here, and so what we can do in this case is we can simply use this feature right here, insert and edit image, to put your response in there. If you don't see that, it's because these chevrons are collapsed. So if you only see one bar like this, click on those chevrons and it just expands your formatting palette. So from here, we're going to use insert edit image. We insert the image. So from here, I need to locate my image. I'm going to browse my computer, and I've got it sitting out on my desktop, and this is it right here. It's actually a JPEG. I'll just open that up, and we just put an image description in there, and it's line value, shape, composition of a bear inside an ellipse. Now we do this because it helps with what we call universal design. It makes visual assets accessible to people who have difficulty seeing or are blind. And we can give it a title again, balance, repetition, movement, layout, something like that. And then I'm going to go over to appearance, and I'm just going to make sure that these dimensions are no more than 500. So if you've got a very large file, just find the largest measurement and type in 500. Mine's smaller than that, so I don't really need to worry about that. But if yours was more than 500 pixels, just put a 500 in. It'll automatically resize the other dimension, and then you can insert your image. You'll notice that it inserts directly in there, and if there are any additional notes that you need to put in there, you can just hit return and add any additional notes to allow for evaluation and interpretation. Now, having said that, the image should speak for itself. So that's actually your response. It's not a written response, it's a visual response. Once you've done that, you click Next. And now we're into question 2. So, does the composition utilize the elements and principles of design? Well, you should actually ask yourself that question prior to submitting it. But assuming everything is okay with your image, again, we'll insert it. And I wonder if I can just access it from here. Browse content collection. I'm going to say search content, LVS, search. No. So I'm just going to upload files. So instead of browse content, browse my computer. I'll find my image again, open it up, image description, line, value, shape, composition, and balance, repetition, movement, layout. And we'll insert that, and remember again about sizing, and if that's fine, you just click submit. So you're submitting the same thing in several categories. When we come to evaluate it, we'll be looking not only at our own work, but we'll be looking at the work of 2 of our peers and providing them with some input as well. So you'll see now that the status of my submission is that it's completed, and now we're ready for the next phase, the next phase rather, which is the evaluation phase. Now the evaluation doesn't come online until the submission period has ended. So the submission period, as we saw, ended on February the 23rd at midnight. And so after that time period, we'll be able to go in and take a look not only at our own work and evaluate it according to the rubrics, but we will also be able to evaluate the work of 2 peers. And that's it.